This week we're going to start our first organ system, the skeletal system. Woo! We cover two other organ systems in AP1 lab. We do the nervous system after this, and then we do the integumentary system. We're going to spend the next 4 weeks on the skeletal system, including the joints in the skeletal system. This lab's pretty easy and not very long. Yay! Just getting you all oriented as to what the skeletal system is. And we're going to look at the gross anatomy of bones, using a long bone as an example, the microscopic anatomy of bones, chemical composition of bones, structural characteristics of bones, bone shapes, there's 5 of those, bone markings, the protrusions, depressions, and holes that are in bones. Protrusions, things that stick off bones, depressions, divots in bones, and then holes in the bones. We're going to introduce those, and then we're also going to do the accessory structures of bones, the skeletal cartilages, as well as like tendons and ligaments, which are made of dense, regular connective tissue. So the goals for this lab are to learn the functions of the skeletal system, learn the types of tissues that comprise bones and skeletal cartilages, learn the bone shapes and the names and examples of each shape, begin learning the names of the bone markings. You don't have to know the bone markings for this test, because in labs 7 and 8, the next 2 labs, we'll be talking a lot about the bone markings, little bits of bone or parts of bone that say muscles attached to, or there's a hole where arteries and nerves go through, those kind of things. I think it's easier to learn the bone markings when you're actually looking at that bone where the bone marking occurs, and we can talk about the function of it then, rather than looking at a list of them like there's in the table in your book in this chapter, and the definitions next to them or descriptions next to them. And it's harder to learn that way without having a concept of what those things are. So just familiarize yourself with those terms, and then the next couple of classes we'll get to what those things actually are. Then we're going to look at the gross anatomy of a long bone and the microanatomy of bone, and like what an osteon is, what lamellae are, what an interstitial lamellae is, what circumferential lamellae is, where the central canal is, what a lacuna with an osteocyte looks like with canaliculi communicating off of it to other osteocytes and other lacunae. Understanding the chemical composition of bone, it's made of calcium and phosphate, a compound called hydroxyapatite, and the relationship of that to bone strength and bone flexibility. What is osteoporosis? We're going to talk about that briefly, and role of vitamin D in calcium absorption. And then what I want you to understand from all this is that bone is a living tissue. It's capable of growth, breakdown, and repair. Okay, and so it can be a storage site for calcium, and you can take calcium back out of it for the body. But also, if you break a bone, you can repair the bone. So it's actually a living tissue. It's not a dead tissue. Let's see. The lab lecture video has 2 parts. It's about 1 hour and 30 minutes long. Or I may have stuck a second, third part in with it. It's I took you through how to get to Pearson's Practice Anatomy Lab, and then I go through some of the slides on the skeletal tissue and skeletal cartilages. So, let's see. I also linked to another video from another guy who does basically this whole intro into the skeletal system in about 12 minutes. So if you want to watch that and listen to somebody else talk, that's a nice summary, especially if you know this stuff already. If you don't know the stuff already, probably ought to go through the video that I put up, the 1.5 hour one. Sorry, it's a lot longer than his. Let's see. When I go through the Pearson Practice Anatomy Lab stuff, I go through the several slides in histology, so that's why it's about 18 minutes long, I think. So so for this week, the activities are to obviously read the chapter in the book, Unit 6. Watch is it 6 or 8? It's 8. Sorry, it's 8. Sorry about that. Watch the lecture videos, do the practice questions in the book, and on Pearson for Unit 8. And look at the Practice Anatomy Lab histology slides with me when I go through that video on Pearson. Let's see. So the quiz will be available from September 29th through October 8th. If you have any questions about anything, email me, text me, call me. And if you want to get together on Zoom, I'm available. I'm available Thursday night if you want to get together then. And if you want to get together some other time, give me a shout, and I can set up a special time with you or with a group of you. So, anyway, study hard, and if you have any questions, give me a shout. Otherwise, let's see. Have a great week. Bye.